We'll get started here shortly. I see 6:59, and I am trying to get us live on Facebook. Give me a moment. Okay.
Yo, Scott.
Hello, give me a moment. I'm trying to log on here.
I can't hear you, but maybe you can hear me. Let me figure out what's going on. I can't hear him. He might be able to hear me, though.
Well, that didn't work out very well. I'm going to try that again and get us live on Facebook. Oh, it says we are actually live on Facebook. So, and I have a couple other messages kind of popping in around me here. So bear with me. Oh, look at that. There it is. I also have some other messages coming in. So again, bear with me for a moment, folks. I'm not sure what's going on with the Facebook stuff. If it's actually live, it looks delayed on my other screen. So I'm not sure what's going on. I did hear somebody talking a moment ago, but must have been through there. And again, I'm not sure. Now I'm watching myself in delay on the other screen. So I better turn that off or I'll get distracted. Oh, there you were on Facebook Live, Kristen. I have you on both of them as well. I'm not sure if that's coming through Zoom, but hello, nice to see you this evening.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Good.
Good.
Okay. Turning off the Facebook thing because that is just delayed too much for me. I have a couple more people coming in. So again, we're going to try and fill up the room and then we'll get started. There is no specific agenda. My goal this evening is to start the conversation or at least continue the conversation that I know has been going on in little pockets throughout South Carolina. And I'm just kind of curious what's going on in your neck of the woods. So that's why our meeting this evening. I should probably see who else is joining here. I see we're at 7:03, so another minute or two till we get folks in here. I also want to try and post on that one the invite to get into this one. Also, I believe there are ways for you to raise your hand, or if you need to say something, there's the chat window. If you want to just comment to me on the side, we'll kind of try and get everybody involved as we move forward here. other screen. There's the link I want to steal. Okay. This is very strange with the Facebook Live going on because I have different people on different screens. So I've got my Facebook Live kind of turned off, although I see it moving in the background a little bit. People leaving us here. Anyway, we are now at 7:05, 5 minutes into it. It's time, I think, to really kind of start to chit chat a little bit. We have an iPhone wants to join us. My name is Scott Weldon. I am the director of Lowcountry NORML. We're located in the Charleston area of South Carolina. What I'm trying to do this evening with the premiere here of South Carolina Cannabis Conversation online is to see if I can get a little bit of a pulse, my thumb on the pulse of what else is going on in the state with other groups, with individuals, discuss our options as we move forward. We do have a number of different things that are actually kind of going on or had been going on pre-COVID-19. And so that's where we're going to kind of start this evening. It's just a little bit of a breakdown of where I feel we are. Again, if you'd like to chime in, find that little hand raise icon in the chat participant window. Exit to the participant window, not the chat window. Anyway, this stuff all confuses me. Over in that area. But basically what I'm seeing at the moment is this late in the season, a legislatively state level, second half of a 2-year session, nothing's moved forward. The last movement I actually saw was, I believe it was Ivory Thigpen, put his signature as a co-signer on one of the decriminalization bills, bringing that number up to, I believe it was 3 signers on that bill. And just prior to the legislative shutdown, I know there had been a hearing scheduled for the Compassionate Care Act, which Tom Davis's version of it, S366, and that got called off, I believe it was a week or so, maybe not even before it was scheduled, again, because of everything being shut down. Moving this late into the session, none of that going forward. My understanding is be prepared to start anew next January or early filings in December, however someone may do that. But that means probably, redrafting legislation. Very possibly Tom Davis may continue with his bill the way it is. We at NORML see some issues with it and believe it needs some amendments. He prides himself, I want to say, in saying it is the most restrictive medical marijuana bill that there is in the United States. To me, that means less patients served. And I really think we need to copy the model that is going on in successful states right now. I believe 37 of them with medical marijuana. We can find a better bill than what we've got going now. And it's my understanding in general, it's not hard for us to find a legislator to help us draft a bill or to sponsor a bill. It's more one that has the backing, support of other legislators. I think those are the correct words I was looking for, in their network. So legislatively, and I also see the decriminalization bills being pretty much copied and pasted again for next year, for the next 2-year session. Big thing for us is going to be, or for everybody, as far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty much an issue voter when it comes to cannabis. November's not too far down the road. As a matter of fact, I think we're having, what did I say, runoffs here in South Carolina on the 23rd of this month. But get out and vote. Hopefully you can find out what your legislators' feelings are on cannabis and criminal justice reform, and vote on those issues. The other option besides legislatively at the state level are city and local level referendums. I bring that up because I've been watching up in Myrtle Beach. Oh geez, I have the window closed now. I'm going to have to real quickly open it so I get the right story here, the right names. There is a lawyer up in Myrtle Beach, Johnny McCoy, who has drafted a referendum for the city of Myrtle Beach, and I believe they've proposed it there. This was done, come on, find the name in this we've posted about it on our website. I just want to make sure I get his name right. I'm going to say Benton. I don't want to say I want to say Lighton Benton, but I don't think that's correct. And now, yeah, it is Benton, but I'm not sure his first name offhand. Julian, there we go. Thank you. Finally found it. Who was shot by Myrtle Beach police, I believe hit 9 times, permanently paralyzed. It was all over, my understanding, $100 marijuana transaction. I also believe the police had the informant was who went to make the buy was a police informant. Or the person who went to make the buy was a police informant who was trying to lessen their the trouble they were in for some reason. And next thing you know, they go in, they shoot at him 65 times, 67 times. Forget the exact number, but hit him, I believe, 9 times. One on initial payout of $8.5 million. The total payouts that he's received, I believe, to date is $11.2 million. I think most of that is taxpayer funded, because and one of the things that he's rather angry or upset about at the moment is the police have not apologized or admitted any wrongdoing or anything like that. And again, it's the taxpayer that pays the burden. They don't have malpractice insurance or something like that, which is a kind of what I believe law enforcement should now have is a malpractice insurance. But anyway, Mr. McCoy's bill in the city of Charleston, and I'm sorry, the city of Myrtle Beach, and I believe the way it's written, my copy of it is in the next room, may be adopted by other municipalities in the county. I forget the name of which county that Myrtle Beach is in. Is that Horry County? Somebody may correct me if I'm wrong. The thing with Mr. McCoy's approach, in my view, is you have to, again, persuade legislators. He's going to have to persuade the mayor of Myrtle Beach, I believe, or city council, someone to move this bill forward for him. The other options are to, as we've been trying to do the voter referendum petitions, we have 3 of them written right now. One is for the city of Charleston, one is for the town of James Island, one is for the city of Folly Beach. I've been in some discussions with a student group locally that wants to maybe see about county, doing a county level voter initiative. I think we roughly calculated 52,000 signatures on that one. And that one's just sort of in the discussion. The reason I like voter initiative referendum is you don't have to ask a legislator. You don't have to beg a legislator. You don't need to convince a legislator. It's the people. The people sign, the registered voters, not the people in general. Sorry to say, but if you're not a registered voter, excuse me, you can't sign these referendum petitions because it is a voter initiative petition. And so you have to be a registered voter in the community that we are circulating those petitions for. So I have emailed Mr. McCoy and I think mentioned to him on Facebook if he would draft a similar referendum for here in the city of Charleston. I would be willing to present it to the city of Charleston. I'm not sure how, what, where, when, or what it would go. In the conversations that I've been watching in that particular group for the Myrtle Beach action, they're looking for some specific information to try to convince the legislators in that town, in that city. And it's not that, oh, it's healthy, or, oh, we have an endocannabinoid system. They're looking more for how does it affect the crime rate? How does it affect police retention? How does it affect, I don't want to take the words out of his mouth and I'm not going to get too deep into it, but he wants to do it on the side of, making sure that people are still safe and that police are still maintaining their jobs. They're not out of work because of this. And there was a rundown, but again, I don't want to quote it off the top of my head. We're sort of working on that a little bit and reaching out to them. What I found over the couple of years that I've been doing this here in South Carolina, and it's also been mentioned in that particular thread, was they don't want to be viewed as looking for legalization. Decriminalization, stop locking people up, stopping making it such a dangerous thing where people might get shot over $100 worth of cannabis. Statistically, we know most people have gone to jail over 4 grams or less of cannabis, and that there's a grand racial disparity on cannabis arrests in South Carolina, as there is throughout the entire United States. But that is pretty much the direction they want to go. And again, the same kind of arguments are similar at state level. But they do not want to be associated with legalization. And that's where sometimes we tend to have a little bit of trouble partnering with some of the other groups because the stigma that NORML has, and I am going to call it a stigma that NORML has, is all we want is full legalization of recreational use. And what I've been trying to educate on, for the past 3.5 years that we've been doing this, is that there's a lot of things that we're interested in. We are interested in the medical aspect of it. We're interested in decriminalizing because we don't think we should be filling up for-profit prison systems for people that are caught possessing less than 4 grams of cannabis. we're in it because civil asset forfeiture is basically unconstitutional. These laws were written to go after large cartels and not after man on the corners and, caught in their hoopty, taking whatever money they have in their pocket. That's not what it's about. We're about criminal justice reform. Again, we don't need people getting a criminal record following them around for simple cannabis possession, affecting their possibility of student loans, public housing, so many different things in the future. It could affect child custody cases, all for what? We're up. In the end, are we against prohibition at the federal level? Do we want to end prohibition at the federal level? Absolutely. And I'm not ashamed to say it. When it was imposed in 1937, it was done on a racial motivation. When it was basically reimposed in 1970 by Richard Nixon, he was probably, I don't want to say the most racist president because I don't know all about all the different presidents, but he was a damn racist president. And my favorite one to show the bird when I see him on TV. Matter of fact, a nod to one of our participants here. I did get to watch a documentary, The 13th, actually 13th, last night. Pretty powerful documentary on Netflix if you get a chance to watch it. It's about surrounds the 13th Amendment. They got to show Tricky Dicky and the drug war in there a little bit. Anyway, as far as the rest of the conversation, again, I'm going to remind you, if you do see, I think as the host, I don't have the icon, but if you do see that little hand button, you have something you want to chime in, definitely raise your hand on our Zoom meeting. As far as the Facebook Live, I'm not really hearing anybody on that. I do see that Joe Lee from Ohio did answer my answer that Horry County was the correct answer for Myrtle Beach. Woohoo! I got one right in my geography lesson today. Okay, watching these two screens again, I'm going to get a little crazy. So if you're on the actual Zoom meeting, hit the little hand icon, raise your hand. Otherwise, again, I think where we are at the moment, especially as far as our petition collection program, signature collection program, again, I'm going to continue talking with students about doing the county level, but I almost want to revisit with them first, or at least Charleston City level. And I've been seeing quite a bit where people are saying, hey, sign our petition by going here, downloading it, printing it out, signing it, sign the affidavit on the back as a collector, get a couple of our friends to sign it, and then mail it back to us. So not only do we get one person signing it, but we hopefully can turn those into a signature collector for us, and they can go out and collect some signatures from some friends. I don't care if they collect from one friend, if they collect from 3 friends, as long as if they collect all 40 spaces on the petition, as long as they're registered voter in the city of Charleston, and the information as far as the voter registration is accurate. We need about 15,000 signatures for the city of Charleston, and that would be a great hit. When I look at what Pennsylvania and Ohio have done, okay, I don't know how far behind the Facebook one is, but I believe Joe Lee Moyer, Townsend Moyer is up in Ohio. She may still be listening. I think Ohio recently hit 17 municipalities that have now been decriminalized. I may be mistaken on that number. That might be the number that I saw in Pennsylvania, but I don't think it was. I did look over a list on Pennsylvania because Two reasons. One was, again, Mr. McCoy's proposal for Myrtle Beach included a fine. I don't know exactly what the fine amount was, but there was a fine that was included into that program. The petitions that we've been circulating are from the Sensible Decrim program, and they are a no fine, no time, no court cost. Yeah, they're going to gather your personal information. They're going to jot you down on some, so that in case there's a second offense, they have you as a second offense. Again, in our program, second offense is no fine, no time, no court cost. That and subsequent offenses, but they again may confiscate your medicine from you. They may shoo you off and be. And where most places decriminalize, that does not prevent them from enacting state level laws and just arresting you and searching your car and searching your person and all that. I remember when it happened up in Allentown, Pennsylvania, which is very close to where I moved from. City council passed the ordinance, local police and the local attorney general, I guess, city attorney, said, we're going to follow state law, not your ordinance. And they battled that out, I think, for about a year until finally the enforcement wing came around. And again, there's a number of ways to kind of discuss and fight on that matter, and that is, talking about how we clog our court systems and our prison systems with nonviolent simple possession, how these, we're ruining lives, blah, blah, blah. A lot of times I don't think our legislators want to hear that when we're talking to legislators. As Mr. McCoy again mentioned, they want to make sure that they have their police retention, that the crime level isn't going up. Whether the crimes are actually attributed to cannabis or not, the correlation is what's important to them. Quite often I've seen that, especially when I listen to the chief of SLED, and he quite often mentions correlations that really have no matter in fact. But that is, again, where I'm kind of seeing us here in South Carolina, is our choices of proposing to our local municipalities a referendum, seeing if we can convince them with good sound argument. And again, I understand why the Attorney McCoy is doing it his way. The way he's doing it is because he's an attorney. You argue your case. I don't want to argue so much. I think my action is to try and get the support that I know is out there with the voters. Some numbers are as high as 82% support. Some numbers are a little bit lower in the 60s, depending on on party. But it's not a partisan issue. All parties seem to support at least decriminalizing, at least medical, at least filling up our prisons with nonviolent offenders. So I think we have the numbers when it comes to collecting votes. It's just going to be more of a strategy on how to collect those votes. Again, I'm sort of peeking over onto this other thread. I don't know if it's still going or not. It still says live. Okay. Oh, I see a hand up. I got that.
Scott, can we use electronic signature collection in South Carolina, do you know, or?
No, we have to have a physical signature on a printed document. That's what makes it a legal document. Those are what we will turn into.
But Ohio had the ruling that, like, because of the, like, our right to petition stuff is being compromised right now due to the corona precautions, that they did have the right to electronic collect it, and that's why they were able to get 15 counties to decriminalize it so swiftly.
No, they've been working at it for a while with a lot of activity.
Yeah, Well, I mean, I heard I heard they had that ruling though. I think
that's a relatively new ruling just from the virus, but that will help them as they move forward. I think that ruling, I forget when I sent it to you a couple days ago, but I just picked that up like 2 weeks ago. So as of 2 weeks ago,
it said federal judges, didn't it?
I don't have that in front of me, so I'd have to go back.
I'm trying to pull it up right now. Sorry.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and relook at that. Again, I'm not sure if that would apply to us at this point. I'm sure we'd get pushback on it if we tried it without a court ruling in a South Carolina court. So I think the way to do it, next best thing to the electronic collection is, like I say, have somebody print it out, download it, print it, sign it, stick it in an envelope and mail it back, and hopefully collect a few extra signatures along the way. Because anything we do that's electronic and try and print out after the fact isn't a legal document and wouldn't work for South Carolina. And like I said,
the ruling doesn't set any precedents, or is it just Ohio?
It may say a precedent, but then you still want to have it. It may say, I'm pretty sure that ruling was for Ohio specific.
Okay.
I said I'd have to go back and reread what I sent you.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
I would think that was.
It says federal judge in the article top, but federal judge orders Ohio to let decriminalization campaigns collect signatures. But that's, I guess, Ohio, or decriminalization ones, it just says. But I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, for the Southern District of Ohio, I guess, or it says the U.S. District Courts for the Southern District of Ohio. So.
Yeah, so it very well may not apply to us at this time. If it was at a district that we were included in, it would be to our benefit. It may be something where somebody would have to submit that kind of case here. So my goal is to kind of go the old-fashioned way, is just to collect the signatures, but try and do it with, like I said, what we've been seeing these other events going on is download your petition, print it out, become a collector, sign the affidavit on the back, put your signature, first on the list, and see if you can collect a few more. And while you're doing it, ask your friends to print them out and collect as well. I don't really know at this point the mechanics of another option that might work better for us. I still want to get out with our booth at some point, but I'm very apprehensive right now. As a matter of fact, past couple of days, past week, we've been discussing it here at home a little bit. I don't know if they're doing more, if it's just that there's more testing. Of course, the more you test, the more you're going to find results. But that the numbers here are rising in South Carolina on a daily count. I think there was an over 700 count here yesterday. And they were down to they were only 500 count a few days ago. So that the numbers are starting to peak again. I'm not really ready to go running outside too unprotected. Excuse me, I'm getting a little warm in here. I did work the polls last Tuesday, and I will be working the polls again, not this coming, but the following Tuesday for the runoff. We're doing the little gloves and mask thing there and sanitizing every pen as people use it, and trying to keep this at bay. But on the flip side, I am getting involved a little bit with going out and having brunch, and supporting local eateries and things like that. And it's really hard to wear a mask while you're having lunch. So, but otherwise, again, I'm staying home as much as possible. I am getting over some sickness that I've had, some illness issues that I've had for the first half of the year. as some of you all know. Other issues I still need to address, but that's neither here nor there for this conversation. I do want to continue this conversation on a weekly basis. I see we're in about a half hour here. I'd like to continue this on this same link every Sunday evening at 7 o'clock. See if we've moved ahead with any of these particular movements. See if we can get some of our legislators to join us here. I did put it out there for Tom Davis to join us, and I'm not sure who else I reached out to. I think I had about 150 people on the list out there. Kristen, what have you got for us?
Yeah, I just noticed there's been a little bit of traction like in chat on this Zoom. One of the things that was brought up was the potential of maybe reaching out to like CBD shops and having them like post up petition forms, and I just wanted to see like what your thoughts were on that idea.
I am kind of bad at looking at those chats. Okay. We have done that in the past, and we've had mixed results, I'm going to say at best. Part of it is the collector needs to be sort of very aware of what's going on when somebody's signing their petition. And when you put it in a shop like that, they want to sort of just put it where it's available to the general public. Oh, yeah, don't forget to sign the petition over there. And we found, especially when we're trying to turn our city of Charleston petitions around, and I would like specifically ask people, do you live in Charleston? And they would say, yes, I live in Charleston. You live in the city of Charleston. You're a registered voter in the city of Charleston. Yes, I live in Charleston. Great. Going over, sign that petition over there. And they'd finish their signature, and we'd kind of finish their chat, and they'd be on their way, and I'd pick up the board, and I'd look, and they were from Goose Creek or Somerville or in the county of Charleston. And that's where I nod to Kevin and the students over at CFC. They're talking about maybe trying to do this on a county level because there are a lot of people that want to sign. And when you get into an area where there's groups of people, they don't all tend to be from Folly Beach or the town of James Island or even the city of Charleston. They are from all around the county and probably beyond. But yeah, sometimes we've set up, matter of fact, the little shirt I have, there was some 98 rock festival last year that we were invited to set up a little booth and collect some signatures. And that was another one. I believe it was in North Charleston area. And it was very, very loud. So for me to try and ask people, are you from the city of Charleston, over that loud rock and roll, we couldn't hear each other half the time. They were signing away. They were having a good time signing. I don't really know how many are valid signatures or not. We still have them, so we may be able to use them. But I think that's really going to be our goal is to either readdress it as a county level, which I haven't seen any of that happen in Pennsylvania or Ohio, where I kind of watch both of those areas. And I think it may be target size, but their configuration is different than we are here. The way Charleston is laid out, it is like a splash of paint. It's not defined. It doesn't have real well defined edges, at least not that I can tell. And then so it surrounds like James Island. It sort of nudges Folly Beach off to the one side and kind of, it says, oh, North Charleston, yeah, you're really not part of us. You're up there. And oh, Daniel Island, we're going to build our own island, but then you've got, Mount Pleasant and Sullivan's there that are part of the county, and people will sign. But yeah, So I don't know, maybe going in that direction at a county level for this specific area may be a good idea.
Also, just out of curiosity, what's the number of signatures that we would need for Folly Beach specifically again?
Folly Beach is only 400 people, and I think rough count, we may have 100. I'm uncertain. The problem with Folly Beach many a times, I'm going to switch this to everyone. It is tourist season hits. And a island of 3,000 people, this is the list of all the registered voters on Folly Beach. I forget my exact number anymore. I think it may be 2,800 people. To find them among the explosion to approximately 22,000 people on the island during season, all living in these rentals. And I know some owners and registered voters move off the island and back maybe toward West Ashley or something like that, inland a little bit, so that they can rent their beachfront property that they may be a registered voter at, but so they can rent it out for 4 months of the year or something like that and make a little bit of, I don't know, maybe pay their whole mortgage. I'm not sure how it works for them, but anyway, that's been kind of the challenge, is to find the residents off season. We were starting to plan and ramp up to it in kind of January, February. As some of you know, I got sick in December and things kind of just extended for a matter of months for me until the surgery last week. So I was out of commission on a lot of that and really sluggish and fatigued. But anyway, we were starting to discuss going down and actually taking our list and knocking on doors for voters and asking for signatures. And then the virus hit, and everybody had to kind of stay in, and they closed down the school. A lot of the students in the Students for Sensible Drug Policy group actually gained credits for collecting signatures, but school closed. And we probably would not have been allowed on Folly. They shut down the island. And so that just sort of all went on hold until, recently, as they started to open things back up, and now they're flooded with tourists. So where do we go? How do we do it? And that's, again, why I've got the conversation hopefully started here with some of you all that have joined me tonight. I'd like to continue this every Sunday night at 7, see if we can get some of the kinks worked out to this, see if we can get those 400 people from Folly, or because to me, 400, I'm seeing here a comment, it seems like we could do that. I've been saying that for a good year now. Seems like we should do that. I should be able to do that. I did make an acquaintance just this past week of a voter and somebody who's relatively I think is very politically active on the island. That may be a little bit of a foot in the door. I had tried to actually request from each and every one of the restaurant establishments back in last year at some point. I don't remember exactly when, but I took a letter and I talked to either the owner or the manager of the business at that point. Hit all but 2 of them, and that was just more timing than anything that I missed those last 2. Asking if we could maybe have some sort of a signature collection event in their bar and restaurant, and that this event was targeted primarily to residents, because guests and tourists can't sign these petitions. And so, this is something we want to do. And would they allow us to do that? Would they be willing to let us have this little event? Not a single one responded to me. And when I told it to this resident the other day, she was like, "Really? None of them? Not this one? Not that one?" I'm like, "Not a single one." She may be able to talk to some people, maybe get us kind of set up, again, with the social distancing and things, we've been apprehensive on to get back out there like that. But that's going to be what it takes, is to actually get out there. Again, I'm seeing some comments here talking about how they were at it in Ohio, going door to door to get signatures, and they would set up near edges of parking lots where they could flag people into one entrance and have them kind of pull through, sign the petition, and pull out the other way, and just sort of have a drive-through sign-off in local businesses. Many times the business was closed for the weekend, and they just had asked permission to utilize their parking lot in this method. And yes, I think it's doable, but it has to be more than just one person out there doing it. And if you've been with me the past year, you've seen it's pretty much me. I've had a couple of participants with me. Our one participant who was actually, I loved it. It was our first community service participant ever. So if you need to, hell, I hate to say it this way, but pay a debt to society through community service because you possessed marijuana at some point, come on out and help me fight for marijuana reform, and become work your community service with us. Mind you, the office for this particular volunteer was in California. I'm not sure how much your probation officer or parole officer, whatever they do that with here in South Carolina, would think about you working with NORML. But we are a registered 501c4 nonprofit organization, and usually that is the requirement, is to be a nonprofit organization that's out there for the betterment of your community. Hit and miss every now and again. I do get some other folks that'll kind of come out and hang with me. Me and my age, my health hasn't been great. Some of my helpers, their health isn't a whole lot better. And so, yeah, to actually get out and go door to door, I was really looking forward to having those young college students out there helping me with it. We're going to try and get back to that at some point as we move forward. I don't know how that's going to go. I mean, if you think about it, school starts again for the students in maybe 2 months, mid-August. I don't know how all that's going to play out. Sorry, while I read something here. Kristen, I'm going to put your hand down. I don't think you have any more questions on that. There we go. Again, a reminder, if anybody has anything they want to mention, find the little hand icon over in the participants window. But I think I've kind of talked myself out for tonight. If you have any other thoughts on how we can move this issue forward here in Charleston specifically, South Carolina in general, and at a federal level, absolutely. Yeah, we'd be more than willing to hear, or happy to hear from you. Again, I think we need to refresh our view, and we'll talk about it again next week, on getting out there and maybe getting our petitions circulating, try and at least decriminalize. I will keep you posted on what's going on with the decriminalized reform ordinance up in referendum up in Myrtle Beach, and see if we can pass some information on to them up there that helps. And I'm going to ask you all to invite your friends, your colleagues, anybody that you have involved in the fight. We need to move this forward for a lot of different reasons, with what's going on in our nation right now over issues of race. We all know that cannabis possession arrests, there's great racial disparity in the way that the enforcement is applied, how imprisonment is applied. That's all part of the battle that we're about. It's not because we're just Bill and Ted wanting to have a great adventure somewhere. We've got to stop locking people up. It's been a part of of Jim Crow, in my opinion, forever. Again, look at your history with Henry Anslinger, and the fears that he put into the public at the time, trying to You make it sound like the use of this product was going to endanger the community. And March 13th, I think that goes on about how Reagan got involved, how Clinton got involved with the Drug Act of 1995 and extended prison sentences and 3-strike rules. And it's just an ongoing of the harms that prohibition put on our society. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up for tonight. I'm going to ask you all to come back and spend some time with me next Sunday. Same link is going to get you on in here. We'll be signing on just minutes before 7. We get started a few minutes after. People kind of roll in. See if we can change cannabis laws here in South Carolina, stop locking people up, and let's get people safe access to their medicine. Thank you all for joining me, and we will catch up with you next Sunday, 7 p.m.
Thank
Bye
you,
now.
Scott.